Alright, Brakateh Hawa, Brakateh Shah, Brakateh Hawa, Brakateh Shah, Brakateh Hawa, Brakateh Hawa, Bashim Shah, Bashim, Hakudash. It belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to the Dakim. I do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity of the priest Shaman. This week's topic is going to be entitled, This Generation is Completely Destroyed. Hosea 4:6 says that, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and that is true. And destroying the knowledge amongst our people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, start with the youth. And this lesson is inspired by a conversation I was having with younger gentlemen, early 20s. And some of the things they were saying, they were in the world, what have you. Some of the things they were saying, from getting surgery done to yourself as a man. What the fuck was they saying? Just telling me to do some real feminine shit, man. Get this done, that done. Pretty much like how these women be getting their shit done or what have you. But men saying that, it just really bugged me out in the sense that, damn, I was in their 20s, nothing but what 10 years ago, right? So it's just like, in this short of a time span, all right, the way men are thinking are completely different, and it shows you the power of social media. It shows you the deception, all right, of the so-called white man, all right, who's creating weak and effeminized men. Now, why is that? Because a weak and effeminized man is more easier to conquer, and that's really the goal. More easier to control. Because everything right now that the so-called white man is building is a system of control, leading up to the ultimate form of the control, which is that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, right? And you look at things from like electric vehicles, which will limit the restrictions of how far you can travel. You can't go off the grid with an electric vehicle, So that's another form of control. But when these men are weak, effeminized, easily controlled, then you can push any sort of agenda, and guess what? They'll be accepting of it. They don't have that combative, fighting, questioning things type of spirit. Now, the men have been conditioned to be very submissive, man. You know what I mean? Very submissive, very easy to manipulate. Don't question shit. You know what I'm saying? So, this is why the Bible says, seek the Creator in the days of thy youth. Why? Because a young man's mind is very malleable. So there's ways to go about that in righteousness. But the so-called white man has took, a well idea that was done in righteousness and molded it for wickedness. You know what I'm saying? So this is how come the men are completely fucked up in the head. The women, forget it, they're far gone. All right. Why is that? Because again, the family home has been broken up. The family home has been broken up with things like welfare, all these different programs and shit like that. This is why the scriptures in the book of Isaiah, the 31st chapter, says, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. They have set up these different programs to incentivize breaking up families, to incentivize making the bare minimum, you know what I'm saying, and making our people okay with that. My job, I deal with with claims, right? Part of my job requires me dealing with claims, and some of these guys, they'll go out on comp and be okay with making $100-something for a week, and it's just like, why the fuck would you be okay with that? But guess what? In their mind, it's like, well, shit, it's free money, and I could get this government help, that government. So the notion of grinding and working hard and shit like that, is not being propped up in America. At least amongst our people. Amongst our people, it's try to get over and get this aid, that aid, that aid. But here's the shit though: when that shit get cut off, you're fucked, and it will get cut off. The wicks, all that stuff is gonna get cut off. A few years ago, they did that, and the nigga woman was in the street losing it. All right, so this super dependent mindset on the government, man, that shit detrimental. How it's detrimental? Because whatever the so-called white man is prescribing to our people as their benefit, just know this, man, that shit is not to your benefit, and it's really to harm you. You know what I'm saying? So when they're talking about these different programs to help you, look, man, the devil speaks with a forked tongue. Ecclesiasticus 12:10 tells us to never trust our enemy. All right, when he says this is to better you, there's some sort of nefarious plan behind it. Because one, the so-called white man is a sword created by the Most High. All right. He's an instrument of destruction. All right. They show you that in that movie Planet of the Apes. All right. He's a harbinger of death, pretty much going to the so-called white man. So they have these think tanks pursuant to the book of Psalms, the 64th chapter, where they come together, they conspire, and they thoroughly think these things out, these different plans and programs, and think, how can we destroy them, but at the same time make them accept it, make them think that we're helping them. And that's how they move. And they have very, very brilliant minds on the left-hand side. All right. And guess what? They even use Jake. They even use Jake in these different plots that they come up with, because they're like, you know, this is your people, you understand them. How can you get them to, you know, shake their ass and be niggas and be effeminate, and they'll do it. They'll come up with ways. Hey man, this dude Young Thug was saying he had to stop wearing the nails and shit. The nails on his, you know, he used to wear the paint his fingernails. He said he had to stop doing that because he saw his son start painting his fingernails, and his wife was like, you know, his woman at the time was like, oh, you got to stop doing that because your son said he want to be like you. So Young Thug stopped doing it. Then the guy on the radio show was like, okay, that's your kid. What about all the other kids' minds that you've influenced? You see what I'm saying? So it's shit like that. Like the so-called white man can't say, stop, you know, dyeing your hair pink and you know, and paint your fingernails. Jake ain't gonna listen to him. But if you can have a nigga come out the ghetto making money doing it, they'll emulate that, you know, because their minds are very impressionable. I don't know if you brothers ever seen the movie Undercover Brother with Eddie Griffin. It came out years ago, like in 2005, and it's comedic, but there's a lot of truth in there, you know. And one of the things they're trying to do is they're trying to infiltrate the man, which they're really talking about the so-called white man, but they just say the man. And they went into one of the man's organization, right? And there was a scene in there. The man was saying, "Yo, how can we get these?" They blatantly said it, but they was doing it in jest, but they were blatantly putting a lot of truth in your face. They was like, how can we get these black men, these so-called black people, to start smoking our cigarettes? And then Undercover Brother, he went in disguise, you know, he changed his voice, you know, to sound like more like, you know, uppity. And he came up with a plan. He pretty much created a cigarette that looked like a giant blunt or some shit like that. He called it the Fatty. And Edomite bitch was getting turned on by it, and he's like, see, this is how you do it. But that's a real thing. Like, I never understood that as a kid, but as a grown man now, I understand. Like, they showing you, like, look, in these executive meetings, all right, in the intersanctum of the wicked elites, they have these meetings. They get Jake involved. They get a lot of people involved. How the fuck can we do this and do that to these people? How can we, you know, how can we have their woman lash out against them? You know, okay, let's set up like, you know, Love and Hip Hop and all these different shows, and you know, show that you could still be a hoe for most of your life and get a ball at 60 and shit like that. So all these different crazy indoctrinations, they're thoroughly thought out. They're not by coincidence. The so-called white man knows exactly what he's doing, and the proof of that, again, is the society that we have today. And if this is the current youth, I could only imagine what the next generation after that would be, because it's only getting worse and worse. And this is why the Lord said, if this man go down, no flesh is going to be saved, man. No flesh shall be saved, because this man is a complete devil. He's pretty much anti-life, you know. So traditional values, ways of the Bible, training a man to be upright, training a man to be masculine, you know, training a woman to be feminine, going with the natural nature of the Bible and the scriptures, is like fucking nail on a chalkboard to the so-called white man. Why? Because he's a physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan. So he's gonna be adverse to everything on the right, you know, literally. Like, you know, right is left, left is right, up is down. That's why the scriptures speak about turning things upside down. You cannot marry two women in America, all right? Legally, you cannot marry two women in America, but guess what? Same sex can be married. That's completely adverse to what the Bible says. And if you ever say anything, this is what's crazy. If you ever say anything against that, you could lose your job, your career, you could lose everything, man. But let's you say, you know what, I think a man should be able to marry multiple wives because I think that is a better, you know, family structure for kids. It teach women about, it teach your children and family about community. You want to be like the patriarch Abraham, man, you'll get fucking demonized, you'll get canceled, man. So it's like, and that's another thing too, like, they keep canceling everybody, right? But when you cancel everybody, that means there's no multiple voices. It's just one voice. It's just one rhetoric, you know? So the so-called white man is not outright saying, look, we're going to control what you say, but they're going to say things like be politically correct and, you know, cancellation and shit like that. They literally telling you, if you're not thinking with the fucking program, you're going to lose it all. And again, this is conditioning people for when that RFID microchip come, which is the hour of temptation, the mark of the beast, all right, that is going to be a norm for you to be completely cut off if you don't get with the program. However they set it up, what do they use? They a cyber attack, because, you know, the so-called white man operates out of order ad chaos. So he's going to create some sort of chaos, some sort of catastrophe, some sort of something, all right? And these people are going to champion it, all right? These people are going to champion it, and those that resist it, which is also going to be a lot of people, all right? They're going to be demonized, okay? But they're going to be the ones being canceled. They're going to be the ones being put to death, really. It's going to get so hectic out here, all right? But you people are slowly being conditioned, again, to accept everything, okay? And as my man Top G said, if you accept everything, you stand for nothing. So the conversation with those younger men gotta, you know, I try to make it a bit more high IQ, like really getting deep into some of the things that they were saying. But then I can see, like, man, they just don't have a motherfucking clue, man. You know what I mean? They don't have a motherfucking clue as to what the hell is going on, man. And hey, man, this is why we need Yahweh Shai, man. Like I said, you know, working with younger men of my people, okay, and then interacting with them and shit, it's just really a far cry of just 10 years ago. And you know, our parents' days, it's a lot. It's things are becoming a lot different. You know what I mean? And hey, man, that's why I'm putting up curses on this devil every fucking day, because Yahweh Shai has to come back and set things right, man. Because, you know, the scriptures tell you that oppression maketh the wise man mad. And this is truly oppression, man. You know, they oppress a male, all right, and lift up a female, and it's caused nothing but chaos and destruction. You know. Now, granted, when we empower, yeah, in a way, we're gonna oppress women's sexuality, all right. But if you oppress a woman's sexuality, you still get families, you still get order, you still get structures. Look over there in the Middle East. But look what happened when you oppress a man's sexuality and liberate a woman's sexuality. Complete chaos and madness, man. So that was my quick little. I had to, you know, I had to speak on it, man. You know, it was fired up in me. So I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rachak, for, you know, allowing me the spirit to just, you know, do this lesson on the way to my destination, and pray, you know, we endure, and I pray Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua make a steadfast return. Alright, so Shalom, Akim. Again, all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rachak. Shalom.